Sanity is the ability to think and behave in a normal and rational manner. Sound mental health. Reasonable and rational behavior. By contrast, insanity should be the inability to behave in a normal and rational manner, right? Well, it's not. Insanity. Insanity is defined in the Merriam-Webster dictionary as the state of being seriously mentally ill, madness, extreme foolishness, and irrationality. But why is insanity defined in terms of mental health, whereas sanity is defined as a trait? Perhaps the insane had no say. Insane. The insanity defense is a legal plea which constitutes that an individual cannot be charged or otherwise found guilty of a crime due to the fact he or she being legally mentally ill or incompetent at the time and place of a crime. This defense goes back many years. One of the very first uses of this defense was established in an English court in 1851. So what's the recent take on this? Gun violence, and most recently, senseless shooting rampages continue to be sensitive and emotional points of debate in the American media and political establishment. Illicit flows of small arms and light weapons undermine the security and the rule of law. They are often factored behind the forced displacement of civilian and massive human rights violations. World leaders have taken this seriously and turned to the Small Arms Treaty suggested by the UN to aid this madness. The treaty aims to reduce human suffering caused by illegal and irresponsible arms transfers, improve regional security and stability, as well as to promote accountability and transparency by state parties concerning transfers of conventional arms. One recent infamous case took place here in Colorado. James Holmes, 26, was a former graduate student at the University of Colorado Denver School of Medicine when he went on a shooting rampage in a theater in Aurora. Holmes too felt neglected by society, so just like most of the individuals who engage in these activities. That, along with other psychological issues, triggered Holmes's actions that day. Later, Holmes was found not guilty by reason of insanity in a Denver court, leaving lots of criticism and despair for families of the victims and society as alike. How did he get away with it? Was Holmes really insane? So how does it work? To be found not guilty by reason of insanity, you have to undergo professional examination to determine the validity of your insanity. People who perform these mental examinations are psychiatrists. Whether they assume criminals are fit for these trials or not depend on these individuals' evaluations. The science required to perform such exams is forensic psychiatry. Forensic psychiatry is a part of psychology which deals with patients and problems at the interface of the legal and psychiatric system. Such a definition implies a specialty that does not travel easily, and the practice of forensic psychiatry does vary considerably from country to country. Psychiatrists look further than just the actions of the individuals. Psychological, physical, social components, and emotional issues must be also taken into consideration. Psychiatrists often seek specialization training required to fully comprehend these individuals' thoughts and feelings. Usually an MD or DO are the required specialties relevant to this research. It is noted that psychiatric understanding of human conduct uses key explanatory concepts which are the same as or similar to the mental concepts of common sense and law. With that concept, the insanity plea is possible. NGRI, or non-guilty by reason of insanity, is a perfect antidote for a person to escape the legally prescribed consequences of their crimes. Defendants claim that they were not legally responsible for their criminal acts. In technical terms, they invoke the ancient doctrine that their acts, while guilty ones, lacked moral blameworthiness because they were not intentional, since the defendant not possessed full mental faculties at that time. In other words, they did not know what they were doing, or simply did not know right from wrong. So one thing concerned that we can conclude about these assumed criminals is that they, at one point of their lives, while committing a terrible crime, were insane, and they did not know the difference between right and wrong, resulting in these individuals to plead not guilty by reason of insanity in crimes that negatively impacted in many ways the families and beloved ones of their victims. Or is it that they were so sane that they played their part well to be insane? In general, the insanity defense is much controversial all over. Whether you believe social justice is defined with it relies heavily on your experiences. It has been said in time that there are as many interpretations of William Shakespeare's plays as there are people on the planet. So tell me, is a psychiatric facility more comfortable than a jail cell? Or is it all in your mind?